Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We have seen in the world a political strife, but what's still worse is the political strife, religious strife. And the religious strife has been afflicting the humanity for ages, right from the day one when the concept of religion took place. There has been strife. My religion is better than yours. Fine. But then you must follow my religion or die. And that is enjoined into religions. If your neighbor is not a convert, then you are at fault and you'll go to hell. Convert your neighbor and you'll go to heaven. But then I think, doesn't this show that the gods that they worship are impotent and weak? They can't protect themselves. We call them all omnipresent, omniscient, omnipowerful. And what's their power? That they need the human beings to protect them. You have insulted my God, so you must die. And we have been seeing this all over. 1947, when India was divided into India and Pakistan, more people died in the religious strife than they died in the Second World War, and nobody talks about them. It appears that the gods are, to quote Shakespeare, puking and mewling like babes in the nurse's arms, and the nurses are their followers, who are nothing but murderous hordes of the people, devoid of all sense of humanity, and yet posing themselves as the custodians of good things. I remember reading French existentialist Albert Camus, and his quote assumes exponential significance in these turbulent times when the people are fighting over religions and gods. He said, I had only a little time left and I don't want to waste it on God. And these ruffians, I see them in India, I see them in Pakistan, I see them in Afghanistan, I see them all, in fact, even in Canada. There is intestine war going on. And we seem to be wasting a lot of our time and energy on God and religion, and as a sequel, killing each other. Christopher Hitchens was once asked by an American daily whether he believed in miracles, and the ever witty man said he fully believed in miracles because wasn't it a huge miracle that human beings have been killing each other, killing their fellow human beings, and taking umbrage for a God they never saw and would never see. Maybe they need God, but why impose God? And that this is happening in the 21st century when the world is facing a lot of among us issues. Issues of poverty, issues of ecological imbalance, disappearing biodiversity, disparity, pandemics, and global undernourishment, food, shortage of water, name it, hundreds of problems. And yet we kill each other in the name of God. My God is better than yours. You must worship my God. Okay, first part I accept it. Your God is better than mine. But why should I worship your God? And it's time for every individual to sit and mull over the uncertainties that abound in our lives. And those uncertainties are more problem. You have to find solutions to them rather than take God and religious so damn seriously. Buddha was very right when he said, care for the humans around you, and the gods are self-sufficient, they'll take care of themselves. And that's why I said in the beginning, it's a comic thing that you are projecting your God as powerful and yet he needs your support. How ridiculous. But the second part of Buddha's quote, which I quoted just now, care for the human beings around you, your self-sufficient God will take care of himself, is very fascinating. Your self-sufficient God will take care of himself. If the entire mankind understood the importance of this statement, that God can protect himself, then all the differences and bloodshed would stop. Now, once someone quoted Jalaluddin Rumi, one of my favorite poets, and asked him why didn't he react or curse a Jew who constantly abused Allah. On the contrary, when somebody abused Allah, Rumi used to smile rather than be vindictive. Rumi again smiled at the question and told the person that had he reacted, he would have provoked the Jew to abuse Allah with greater degree of intensity, and also given him the impression that Allah was so helpless that he needed a mere mortal's help and intervention to protect him. That's what we need to understand. That would have been ridiculous. Rather, that have been juvenile. No reaction is the best action in the matter of faith. And a sense of dignified silence is an ideal remedy for such a volatile situation. That is what I would call spiritual wisdom. Ignore if others are saying something, rather than react. Because reaction begets a greater reaction. Now what happens is the followers of all religions, and all are man-made religions, let's be very clear. All that talk of descended from heaven and heaven is fine for the faithful. But they are basically human beings. They made faith. And followers of all these man-made religions react, and react violently. Every follower seems to become a self-styled custodian of his religion. What we all can do is to avoid any kind of religious confrontation. Any kind. Follow Rumi's recipe in total. No reaction. The more you react, the more you flare up the situation. And that much maligned ego is one of those realities that is denounced and denied by every religion, but the ego never dies. One of the disguises that ego dons is the collective ego, one expression of which are the cults that build around the religious sects and spiritual matters. Each religion has certain cults, and they are more brutal, more harsh than the other. As a spiritual master, Sri Aurobindo was very emphatic that he didn't want any development around him. For example, writing in third person, which he often did, and that's lovely because he didn't want a cult to be around it, he never used the first person. He wrote in one of his articles, it's not his object to develop any one religion or to amalgamate the older religions or to be founder of any new religion, for any of these things would lead away from the central purpose. And the central purpose is an inner self-development by which each one who follows it can in time discover oneself and evolve a higher consciousness than the mental, spiritual and supernatural consciousness which will transform and divinize human nature. How perfect! Why can't we follow it? But such interests have never stopped religions and their acolytes, their followers, their rabid followers, from finding ways to wriggle out of the demands made by their gurus. They quote their guru and then they kill against the advice of the guru. The slow and almost imperceptible way in which this happens facilitates the process and emergence of a cult feeling, and that cult feeling develops into a sense of a group identity that makes other group your enemy. And if the potential for creating a cult exists, sooner or later it will be created. And the more the cults, more the murders, more the killing, more the bloodshed. What we need is to establish, have a more religious maturity. You see, unfortunately, we are extremely immature. It's like that, small kid. If you abuse a mother, he feels annoyed. Or when he is school going, the teacher is the acme of perfection. So you can't. Same is about the human beings. Human beings are in fact religious pygmies. And they are spiritual dwarfs. And more they are so-called spiritual and religious, the more intellectually and humanly dwarfed they are. A spiritually enhanced individual is never impulsive. He is an ocean of religio-spiritual peace and calmness. And where that religio-spiritual placidity and calmness is there today, I don't find it anywhere. The founders of religion had it. Gautam had it, Nanak had it, Ram had it, Christ had it. But today's violent human beings is obsessed by, conspicuous by its absence. It's in time now for all of us, human beings, be the Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Jews, or natives, to introspect and realize that religion is a private issue and every individual has a moral responsibility to follow his God and faith in divinely dignified manner without resorting to hooliganism. Unfortunately, in some constitutions like in India, it's guaranteed right to freedom, and then the government starts coming and making laws. To sum up, I remember an Urdu couplet of Rahil Shikarpur. It was a lovely couplet, and I loved it. And I quote, तन्हा छोड़ के खुदा को मजहब को समझता खुद को अगीदा leave alone God, understand religion, don't mistake violence for faith, my friend. So don't consider it akida. Akida नहीं कहते. So that is it. तशद्दुद को अकीदा नहीं कहते मेरे दोस्त. You can't call terrorism, you can't call killing a religion. So whether it's hardcore Muslim or Christian, whether it's hardcore Hindu or Sikh, whether it's hardcore Confucian or Taoist, these hardcore people have to understand that they are in fact really nothing but intellectually and religiously and spiritually dwarfs. They are not fit to be called human beings. So need is to realize and accept the fact that the God whom we sought to project and we venerate are powerful, they can protect themselves. And whether it's your God or my God, let's leave gods to gods. They don't interfere in our daily life. Why do we interfere in their lives and seeking to protect them? Let them be happy and let us be happy. And how can we be happy? Live and let live. Let everybody follow his own religion without any compulsion. What they eat, how they dress is immaterial. And that's why the need is to grow up and have that placidity, that calmness, religious, spiritual placidity, which I talked about, which is so lacking today. And if you want to save the civilization and if you want to save the human race, the need is to stop. And would you believe that more blood has been shed in the name of religion than for any other reason? I gave you an example. The Second World War was fought for 4 years. And it also had two atom bombs blasted, wiping out two cities of Japan, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But the killing of 47 dividing India and Pakistan, the number of the people killed was more than the people killed in the Second World War. So 4 years on one side, couple of months on the one side, and there is more bloodshed. And yet, have we learned a lesson? No. Some countries continue to spawn this hatred officially. Others do it unofficially. The need is for you and me to understand that gods don't need our protection. And if they need our protection, then they are not fit to be called gods. So let's leave them to their own fate. Let's care for each other. And that way is the real happiness and salvation. Thank you.